So you said you're gonna do the intro.
Hi guys! Welcome in today's episode. As you see, Randy is in the hot seat, on the hot seat.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. You know me.
So as you see guys, I haven't changed my clothes from my live. So because after the live, Randy wants to, the energy kicks Randy in to start the video. So we have to start it right away.
Yeah, and it went on and on and on because a visitor came up here and got some vegetables, and we were yakking with her for a while. So about the dance last night. Because,
So
you know.
without a further ado, let us hear Randy's continuation of his life adventure, craziness.
Craziness? Nah, it's not crazy. It's just life.
Let's hear from Randy's life story.
Yeah. Well, the people asked about my employment type of thing throughout my life. So
Yeah, what was your first job?
my first job? Let's go back. Kind of like this injury shit, right? My first job was, well, not job. The first thing I did was out. The dogs are barking away.
Not a blow job, a job.
I didn't say blowjob. And so my first adventure was I was out in Stillwater. I grew up in Stillwater, right? So I think I was like around 9 or 10, and there was a company that actually like printed like stationery and recipe cards and stuff like that. And you would go out and sell. That's back in the days when people actually wrote letters, because they didn't have email, they didn't have all of that crap, no computers, and no cell phones or this or that. But they would write letters in what do they call that? Cursive, that the kids nowadays wouldn't even be able to read. But anyways, so I went around. I got hooked up with that company, and I went around on my bike, going over and trying to sell this stationery and recipe cards, and I forget what all it had.
House to house?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the houses were far apart out there in Stillwater. I mean, they were at least like a half a mile apart, and so I ran around and was selling that stuff. And talking to the housewives and stuff that were home, because the guys were all at work. And so anyways, I went around and sold that. I forget how much I made with it. I made some, but type thing. You have to get the orders and send it in, and then they would send you the orders, and then you'd have to deliver them to the people and everything.
That's a noble job.
Eh, I don't know if it was noble, but I was young. I was young to do that.
So that was your first job, okay?
Yeah, that was the first thing. Like I say, I don't remember.
How many years were you doing that?
It wasn't really years. It was
okay.
only like for a couple of months.
Okay.
And so anyways, then the next thing I remember doing, we had moved from the farm into Brooklyn Center or Brooklyn Park. I forget what it was. That general area in Minnesota.
Okay.
Right? Into an apartment. And like I told you previously, I hated that. Oh, I couldn't stand that at all. And so, anyways, I went and found a paper delivery job, right? For like the local post or whatever it is.
Newspaper?
Yeah, back in that day.
Okay.
It was like a local little newspaper.
Okay.
And that was in like November, right? And unfortunately, they didn't have a paper route that was like real close to where I lived. I had to go like a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile before the route even started.
Yeah.
And and so I remember the first day that I was actually scheduled to deliver papers. It snowed like, I don't know, 12, 14 inches. And so here I am, I've got this great big, huge pile of papers that they had delivered to where I live that I had to go out and distribute. And so it's like, oh my God. So I got a saucer, with a rope on it, and I piled all these papers on there, and I'm chugging along. chugging along through the snow, dragging these papers, all the way. And it's the first time I did the route, and so I had no idea of where all these people lived at to do the delivery, and they didn't have GPS maps back then. So I couldn't just like look up their address. I had to go all around and find the street name, and then go down and find their house number and stuff like that. What a fiasco that was. And so
what happened to the paper? It was wet by the snow?
No, it wasn't wet because the snow was like frozen and the papers were cold too.
Okay.
But anyways, I got through that first day. Boy, that took a long time. I don't remember exactly how long, but I was exhausted even as being a kid. I think at that time I was like 12 years old, maybe 13. I don't know.
Okay.
And so, those paper routes back then, that was slave labor, because you would have to go out and deliver all these papers everywhere, and then I don't remember if it was once a month or twice a month, you had to go and do what they call a collect, where you have to get the money from the customers for the paper.
So you're a delivery boy and you're a collector as well.
Yeah,
so you must have get two separate payments from that.
No. You only got so much per customer.
Okay.
Type of thing. And of course, you know how it goes on collecting money. A lot of people aren't around, blah blah blah. So you have to keep coming back and keep coming back. It's like, anyways, I did that for, I don't know, maybe like 3 months.
In short, you didn't care for that.
No. That was way too much work for the amount of money you got. And so, trying to think, what did I do next? Yeah. Next, we had moved to a different suburb. Hey, Elsa. A different suburb, and my mom had found in the newspaper with an ad for guys that were looking for people to assemble like cables and stuff. It was actually for music companies, or music stores, right? Back in the day when the music stores were there. Now it's all controlled by computer, but back then it was like, okay, you want to hear this set of speakers, on there, and then hear this set of speakers, right? So you would push a button and hear what the different speakers sounded like, from different amplifiers.
Okay.
And so anyways, this was a job of making these cables that went from the selection stage to the different speakers. And so anyways, that was a lot of work. I mean, to make those. Well, we had figured out how to make a jig to make these cables. There was 3 different sizes we had to make. Some were smaller and medium, and then large. Depending upon how many speakers and shit they were going to have hook up to it. And so we figured out how to make this jig that made it like 15 times faster to make these cables, because it was piecemeal. They only paid you so much per cable. And we figured out this jig, and we're going away, and I took it over from my mom because she was just doing that for like a side gig. And so I took it over from my mom, and I started doing them all. And I was cranking them out so fast that the guy that was supplying all the materials, all the wire, it was just a single strand speaker wire. It wasn't dual strand. And anyways, he ran out of the labels that you put on both ends of the connection, so that which wire goes where. He ran out of those, and he said, "Well, just keep on going. We'll test them and figure it out down the road." And so I did, and I cranked out so many of those suckers in a short period of time, right? And he comes to pick them up and pay me for them, right, or pay us, right, for them, and he's going, holy shit, that's a lot of them, and then he tried to Jew us on price, you know, that he had agreed on paying for each one because, well, you didn't put the labels on there, and I says, well, that's not our problem because we told you we were out of them, and it's like no, you're gonna pay the full price, and as it turned out, back then this was in like the early '70s, right? I ended up making like $20 an hour doing that stuff, so that worked out pretty good.
It's because you are smart.
Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna let him Jew me. You know, as far as
Good.
I'm not supposed to use the word Jew, I don't think. But yeah, anyways, it's just an expression.
Okay, so next.
Next. What did I do after that? Then I went up to the resort. Right, I was on the resort, and so I was like a fishing guide. I would be here's this young kid that's like 14 years old or whatever, that's being a fishing guide, and people are kind of looking at me funny.
That was before your surgery, right?
Yeah, it was around the time. I don't remember exactly when what occurred because the surgery occurred, you know, in the wintertime when I wasn't at the resort.
Okay.
And so, anyways, I was a fishing guide. I think they charged like, I don't know, was it like $20 a day? Or?
Overcharging.
No. It was either 20 or 30. I forget. And so I remember. I used to also. My mom used to go and buy great big bags of cracked corn to for the people to feed to the ducks because there was all kinds of Mallard ducks there at the resort, and so I would. Yeah, I would.
It's a nice thing to look at.
Yeah, I would bag it all up into little bags and then sell it off and make a profit on that.
Well, you were started as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah, I was a little entrepreneur. And plus we had a paddle boat too. One of those things you sit on and paddle and you go around. And so I got the money from renting that out too.
Really?
Yeah, because I took care of it.
See, guys, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. It's not that it was huge amounts of money. But anyways, back to this guiding thing, fishing guide thing. I remember one time there was this guy and his family that came to the resort and they were thinking about a fishing guide, right? Well, he tried the trick of having his daughter, go out with me fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, so that she could figure out where to go.
Okay.
To go fishing.
So that means they don't need you as a guide, fishing guide.
Yeah, that was for free. He was kind of using his daughter for. Oh yeah. He's gonna be attracted to my daughter. And so, anyways, I took her out fishing, right? And there's no way that she was going to remember where to go because that lake was like 6.5 miles long and 3.5 miles wide.
Yeah.
And in amongst it all, there was 150 islands interplaned in there. And so, anyways, I took her fishing and brought her back. I don't remember if we caught anything or not, but anyways. He went out fishing the next day, and of course they couldn't figure out anywhere to go. I think we caught some fish. They couldn't figure out where to go.
So they ended up hiring you again?
Yeah, and then he hired me to take them out fishing. And he got, unfortunately, I don't think he caught any fish, but. It's not my fault because I snagged him onto a really big fish that he fought for a long time, right? But it got away, so that's not my fault.
Maybe that's a whale shark.
Yeah, and so that's how I made a living during that time frame. And let's see. Let's fast forward.
So that's
from
already
there.
4.
Hmm?
From delivering stationery papers
Yeah.
to paperwork, and then to the cable wire,
Right.
and then the fishing guide.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
And miscellaneous other scams at the resort.
Huh?
What? And miscellaneous other scams at the resort.
So we want to hear about that. What
Yeah.
scams?
I'll go into it another time. But, oh, well, yeah, because people used to come to the resort, you know, from other resorts or people that had their own boats and motors that they weren't renting from the resort, and they would be having trouble with their engine, and then I, you know, for whatever reason was mechanical, and I would figure out how to get their motor running properly.
Really?
Yeah.
See, guys,
Yeah.
Randy here is very talented.
Yeah. I remember one trick, you know, because a lot of times the spark plug is malfunctioning, right? And I remember a trick that I had learned or stumbled across, right? If you take the spark plug wire off of the spark plug and hold it back like a half an inch from the spark plug, right? When it arcs and goes across, for whatever reason, that seems to increase the intensity and it burns off whatever's following the plug. My dad was amazed with that one when I showed him that one time when we were out snowmobiling and the snowmobile started screwing up. I says, Dad, just take the spark plug off and hold it away. He was amazed that worked. He goes, "Hi, I didn't know that."
You're a smart cookie.
Yeah, well, no, it was just dumb luck, I guess. So anyways, let's see. After that, I was approaching
16 years old.
16 years old
Yeah.
at that time, and that's when my parents decided to move up to the resort year round. And it's like, no, I wasn't gonna move up to the resort year round because it was 60 miles one way just to go to school, right? It's like no. I already had a girlfriend down in the city.
Yee. His
Down-
first love, guys.
Yeah, down in the city. You know,
First kiss and
She-
first love.
Yeah, she was my first wife too.
First wife, first everything.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, so anyways, I chose to stay down in the cities. Like I say, I'm like 16 years old, and so I was on my own. My parents supported me a little bit, because initially wise, my sister was there and she had an apartment, and so I stayed in the spare bedroom in her apartment. But that didn't last real long before I went completely out on my own and started renting from like my buddy's basement and renting rooms from other apartments and stuff. And that's a whole different story in itself. Not renting from these people, they were crazy. and so I had when I was 16, I was interested in printing because I enjoyed it because I was taking those. What did they call it back then? Votech or whatever in school.
Printing?
You know, where
Printing?
yeah, printing and photography it was.
Oh, okay.
At that particular, I forget what they even call those classes. They don't even have them anymore in the schools for kids. You know, they had like wood shop and metal shop, and this particular one was printing and photography, and I enjoyed that. I did the metal crap and the woodworking and all that. I didn't really care for that stuff. So, anyways, I got interested in printing, and so when I was 16, like I said, and on my own, I started calling up printing companies to see if they had any jobs, right? And I would be talking. What are you doing? Yeah,
Distracting you?
they I'll distract you. Anyways, I would call around and see if they had any jobs where they would do whatever. And I would talk to the owner of the company, and I said what the deal was. I'm interested in I was actually going to vocational school
Yeah.
And because in high school back then, they had it where you could go to the actual vocational college.
Yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, vocational college to learn that particular trade
Yeah.
much more. And so I said to the owner, I says I'm in school and going through Votech for printing and this and that, and I'm looking for like an entry level job. And his response to me was, no, we don't hire people from that are from Votech. And I says, really? I says, why is that? And he says, they're way too slow. They don't know what they're doing. They don't really have an education on how the industry works, type thing. And so then I started questioning him. I says, well, is that the kid's fault, or is that the school's fault, or why is that, do you think? And he got intrigued to the aspect where I was so curious as to, you know, why this is and so forth, and what can you do about it, kind of thing. And he says, well, come on in and I'll interview you. And so
That's nice.
and so I did. I went in the interview, and and he ended up giving me a job. And so that's where I think at that time the minimum wage was $2.10 an hour. So, you know, and so I worked away at that, and I can tell you all kinds of weird stories about that printing company and the employment there. But anyways, this company was kind of growing, right? Because this printing stuff was relatively new technology, you know, where you could do it like quick and kind of on a fast turnover.
Yeah.
And so anyways, they were growing, and they needed more employees.
Yeah.
Right? And here's good old me at the age of 16. I'm going to the kids in school that I know, right? And I hired them.
That's fun.
Yeah. I hired them. I said they need employees. I hired them, and they show up to work, right? And my bosses are going, what do you mean Randy hired you? They'd show up and they go, well, I got a job here. Randy said I did. And they're going, what the hell? we didn't give him permission to hire anybody. and so anyways,
That's a good one, huh?
They let them come to work, but for punishment, they put me into the slave labor of, you know, working next to them, hauling all these boxes off of the steps of paper and stuff, and bring them down into the storage room. And but in the same breath, they were intrigued at the aspect that I took the initiative to do this. Oh, God.
See, they don't have trouble of interviewing those kids.
That's right.
They're already hired.
That's right. I only picked ones that I got along with. Obviously.
But are those kids really know what they're doing, or?
Well, none of us did to start with. Right. But we learned. You know.
Oh, you trained them.
Yeah. And
Okay.
most of these workers were actually, with what we did. It was the cleanup crew. You had to clean all these printing presses every night, and it took like an hour to clean one of these printing presses.
You have another title of job. We call it HR, hiring recruitment, or
HR,
what
human
is-
resources. They didn't have that crap. Well, they probably did in the big corporations. And
I didn't know that story.
yeah.
See, guys,
Actually,
I get him to talk. I didn't know those theories. That was interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So anyways, there was like what 1, 2, 3 that I had hired, and and actually they were good employees, and I was the supervisor of the night crew, the cleanup crew,
Wow.
and so anyways, two of the three. No, well, two of the four, because I'm included it. Actually went on to open up their own printing companies after we were done working there.
So that's one and the other?
Hmm?
Two of you?
Yeah, two of us opened up our own printing
At
company.
the age of 16?
No. That was I was like 18
Okay.
at that time, and after working at that company for a couple of years, the one summer after I graduated, I decided to quit and go up and be at my parents' resort for the summer, and so I spent the summer up at the resort, and then at the end of that, I came back to the cities, and I decided I was going to open my own printing business.
Wow.
Or printing company. Well, I didn't have the ability to actually open a printing company, but what I did is I hooked up with a company that I think it was called Carlson Craft. It's a company that did printing. They did like winning invitations and business stationery and business cards and stuff. And you would go around and get the orders, kind of like selling that stationery shit, right?
Okay.
And so I talked my mom, or my parents, I guess it would be, but I remember it being my mom actually, on buying me what they called a recorder call, right? Because we didn't have voicemail and all that crap back then, on the phones.
Yeah.
So if you're out selling stuff and people try to call you and can't reach you, well, how are they going to order anything, right?
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I talked her into buying me one of those, and it was expensive back then. This is in like '77.
Really?
Yeah, it was like $300 back in '77. And so I hooked it up and put my little message on there and everything. And, so I could get the orders. And I would go out, trying to sell this stuff, sell these items for ordering.
So you became an agent or sales agent?
Yeah, I was like a sales agent for this large company that did printing for all over the place, for all the people that were selling this stuff. And so, anyways, and I remember my dad coming over and listening to that recorder call thing. He got a kick out of that. It's like, that's funny. Kind of thing. Unfortunately, it's the same machine I got a message on from the hospital, trying to contact me about my dad. So, anyways, but moving along, I started selling some orders, right? Because I think people that were in these companies that were in charge of ordering the printing supplies and stuff got a kick out of the fact that you're this little 18-year-old kid out here trying to build a business or do whatever.
Yeah.
And so I did good. I had quite a few orders, and then one time I got a really large order on it, right? And I thought, well, instead of ordering it through that company, right? Because obviously they took a lot of the profits. You only made so much. I decided to order it through the printing company that I had worked for.
Yeah.
Right, and I ordered it through them, and which they did, and they printed it off. Well, they screwed it up. They didn't do it right. And it's just like,
you got karma.
Yeah, it's like, oh Lord, no. See, look what happened to this company once I left. And I wasn't always on the cleanup crew, guys. I went up to the point of, being a pressman and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and working all the equipment, the cutters, the folders, blah, 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 blah. And so anyways, it's like, that was a fiasco. I remember, I don't even remember how I resolved that one.
Really?
Yeah, but
You're fired.
Yeah, I decided that, nah, it's time to open my own printing company. And so my dad was still alive at this time. It was towards the end of his life. And I got together with him and I told him my plan that I wanted to open up a printing company with two of my buddies.
Yeah.
The ones that I had hired. Had hired. We all three were going to get together and open up a printing company. We were each going to try and get a hold of $5,000 to try and open up a small printing company.
Okay.
Well, it went along, and like I say, I talked to my dad, and he says, well, yeah, he would try to figure out something to get some collateral to get a loan or whatever for it.
Okay.
But my other two buddies, they weren't able to come up with the funds.
Okay.
I didn't have them yet either.
It was your dad.
Right.
Okay.
But then my dad passed away. Like I don't know, a month or so.
Yeah.
Or so later. So that put a hamper on that. But my mom. How'd this go again? Oh yeah. A few months into it, I don't like 6 months after my dad had passed away. My mom invested. I think it was $10,000, and and she co-signed for me on buying printing equipment, a printing press, and what, yeah, and they needed the plate maker, the camera that made the plates for the printing. And so I don't know though. I think that equipment cost like $20,000. So she co-signed for the $20,000, and plus she'd given me $10,000 cash to invest
for the operating expense.
Well, yeah, buying supplies and stuff like that. So, anyways, off I went with very little as far as printing equipment. I didn't have a cutter. I didn't have a folder. I didn't even have a machine that was called an etcher that you had to do with these what they called electronic plates.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had to do it with a cotton pad,
Yeah.
to do that. And off I went, and working away. And I was with my girlfriend at the time, right? And she was working there too. Same thing. I went out, trying to sell to places, and wasn't having a lot of luck. It wasn't looking real good, right? And all of a sudden, one day I come back to the office or the shop, and and there hadn't had too much luck, and I was kind of down and out type thing. And then Jackie, my wife, all of a sudden she swings open the drawer in the desk, right, and says, "Look, we got this order," right, which was a pretty good size order actually to do. And off we went from there, and then one thing led to another, where got more and more customers. Pretty soon we had so much business we couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was charging enough, and that was back during the recession of like 1980, 81, right? But as luck would have it, all kinds of circumstances occurred where I ended up, building the company and having tons of business, and I ended up making buku bucks, guys, on there, because I found a niche market that I did. It was it was the market where most printing companies back then, they schedule out all their printing, for like weeks and months, you know, to before you can get it, because they make sure they have their equipment scheduled all the time for these orders. Well, I took the risk of doing the niche market of, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have the equipment available to do your order right away. And boy, that worked out well, because there was a market where people, they needed, when you ask them, when do you want it? They said last week, but I'll settle for yesterday, right? And so that's what I did, you know. And I was able to charge. I mean, there was orders where there was only an extra hour in production time that it took to actually print it and produce it before it had to be on planes and being shipped all over the country.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was able to charge, 10 to 20 times the amount.
Wow.
For the order.
So that's where you make your bukus.
Yeah, I made buku bucks. I was in the top
Buku bucks.
I was in the top 1/2% of income earners.
Highest income earners?
Yeah, in the U.S. back in the early 80s.
Wow.
So, yeah, but it was stressful. Oh my God. I'll tell you what. There was only one order that I ever missed making full delivery on, because my one of the big printing presses I had a mechanical problem, right? And so I'm on the technician. It had an electrical problem, and so I'm on the phone with the technicians in Germany, trying to figure out what the hell's wrong there, right? We're in there, and I'm on the phone, and digging through these great big electrical panels. And Rodney, you would understand this, right? Trying to figure out, what relay is bad, or what is not functioning correctly.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I was still able to produce enough for them to do what they had to do.
Okay. Which
and
is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then once we got it fixed or figured out, I was able to do the rest of the thing. So that's where I made the majority of my money, was back in that printing company. And I did different things. And then I opened up a video production company, actually. That was back.
Really?
Yeah, that was back in the when was it? Oh, that was like 92.
What is video production? Like you video a wedding thing?
Yeah,
or wedding ceremony?
And
okay. Like events?
Yeah, the market back then was different. It's nothing like producing videos nowadays. Back then it was very difficult to do like editing. And guess what, hon? What I set up was a video croquis business.
Why?
Well, I was making videos, right? And I had the whole karaoke set up with all the lights and fancy lights like they have on stage, where I was making like an MTV video.
Really?
Yeah, where you do all these cuts and zooming in on.
Really?
You've watched singers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
On TV and American Idol or whatever those programs are called, where they're cutting, going to different cameras and then zooming in and transitioning over to a different.
That's why you're good in editing stuff.
Yeah. And
No,
it was
guys, I'm the one who is editing our videos these days.
Yeah, I got tired of it. It was way more complicated to do back then than it is now.
Yeah.
And
So you're very talented.
I didn't really make any money with that though, because I didn't.
Why did you close the printing company?
The printing company?
Yeah.
It had switched over to the point where it was all these high-speed copiers were taking over.
Okay, yes,
Right.
the switch of more high-tech technology.
Technology, yeah,
Okay.
where it was
I
quicker,
understand that.
easier.
It's like with the phones. It started
Yeah.
with a lower version, and then it went on and on and on and on until into this Androids or touchscreen stuff,
Right,
right?
right.
So okay, I got that.
And so, like I say, that's
okay,
where I
that
made a lot
went-
of money.
You make a lot of money from that video company or no?
Nah, I lost money on that
It
one.
was crooked.
No, because of the aspect that like I say, I had the karaoke thing where you go out and set it up, and I was not a singer performer, and I couldn't find anybody to actually be like the DJ on this kind of a thing.
Oh, you should have
So,
met me before.
Yeah, yeah. We'd be filthy rich if I'd have known you back then. Hon.
Guess what, Han? 1980.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
at the
1991, I think this was.
1991. I was 6 years old.
Yeah. So, well, I guess that wouldn't have worked, would it? Hey, they have some kids on Americans Got Talent that are that age, but
So anyway, you closed that one, obviously.
yeah, I sold that off.
It's when you get the restaurant. After that.
Yeah, that was that was down the line after I sold that off. Then what did I do? I actually did work at some printing companies as a laborer,
Okay.
and also other companies. Just being a pressman and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? And so, to pay the bills because of the fact that I didn't have the income anymore.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to get rid of that printing company anyways, because I had reached the point in my life where I was realizing that the people around me weren't really around me because of the fact that they liked and respected me or anything like that. It had to do with money. It's like, oh yeah, he's got a lot of money, kind of thing. And so I became self-aware of that at that point in time. So I rebelled. I enjoyed making lots of money, but I certainly found out that money does not make you happy. And so I kind of rebelled against that and decided, nah, I'm going to get rid of all this crap and just be an ordinary person that, doesn't have much and, lives day to day. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life because of the fact I was way happier because I was not happy at that point in time when I was making all kinds of money. Yeah, you can afford all the bells and whistles and crap like that, but that doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
And so I was way happier when
you sold the printing company.
Yeah. And
in short, you were more happier when you have less money.
Yeah, when I was living, hand to mouth, and then the people that you're associating with are real. They're real people, that aren't being fake to you.
Oh, because they said you will know your real friends when you have nothing.
Yeah, and
I guess
that's very true too.
Like you will know who is real friends when they stay with you, even if you have nothing.
And so that's
So okay, guys, let's have a break. I'll show you something. Okay, guys.
So guys, this is a aerial photograph of Seagull Lake, right? Can you imagine the guy that tried to send his daughter out to figure out where to go fishing? like she'd be able to figure out all these different on where to go. There's like I say 150 islands on that.
Yeah.
Lake, so.
Oh my God. Yeah, honey, it's a lot of islands. It's like Philippines.
Yeah.
7,000. Yeah.
yeah. Philippine Lake.
Philippine Lake. So I hope it's clear, guys. See? And we're going to show you, I don't have pictures on my childhood, guys, but Randy had some. So I will show you some. So
we
this
can
is
just edit those into
No, it's
the
okay.
video.
It's more visible here.
Yeah.
This is Randy when he was how old are you, Han, in this picture?
I have no idea.
Probably 6 or 8.
7 or 8. I don't.
Yeah, it's very handsome,
I
guys.
don't remember.
And this is when you are like 35 years old, right?
No.
35 or
I'm
37?
in my 20s.
20s?
Probably 26.
Look, guys. Very handsome.
And look what it turned into. Oh my God.
And hold on. Where is This is him in his garden. In your backyard, right?
Yeah,
Way back.
I'm in the backyard there.
Oh, this is Randy King Gardener, August 1995. That's nice, huh? It's a good memory. And
That's the first
this
house
is
I built.
this is the first house Randy built. This is by the lake.
No.
Little house
it's up
on
a
the
duck pond.
Little house on the prairie, June 1998. Look at guys. It's a nice house, son.
I built that myself, guys.
These are all wood.
Wooden concrete basement.
Oh, nice.
So, you know,
And this is him. What are you cutting this one?
I'm cutting cauliflower that
Oh,
that I had grown in the garden.
Randy, August 1999. I love this. I'm keeping all the pictures, guys. He wanted to throw them away. And I said, I'm gonna keep it. This is him, Randy 1991. Because some of the guys
This is Randy, 2023.
some of the guys are judging Randy to be bad looking guy. He's not. He's handsome actually. 40 years ago.
That's my mom, my sister Becky, and sister Chris, my brother Alt,
Yeah.
and myself. The only one that's missing
Look.
there is Todd.
Han, you're like ghost over here, ghost or goons.
I'm
December 17, 2001?
Hmm?
2001. 01.
2001.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right.
So that's how you look like 22 years ago.
Hmm.
And this is a closer look. This is your second
Yes.
house or the first one?
That's the first one.
This is the look of his
That's in the process of building it.
and you are building this by yourself alone, right?
Well, myself and my brother Alt helped build it.
So okay, let us going to see if how it works out because we wanted to take just a photo of these pictures to chip in the video, and I decided to like
Yeah,
show
went-
it this way, and I said I think this is more clearer, right, guys? So tell me if I'm wrong, guys. We will see it after we end the
You're
film.
wrong. You're wrong.
So that's all for today, guys. See you in the
Yeah.
next episode.
All right. And so the remainder of my life, once I was like 50 years old, right? I had lived off of the money that I had made from the printing company for quite a while, and that came from like selling houses that I had built, like that house. And so I had money in equity from that,
Okay.
and so I was able to work along. But then once I turned like 50, I just started working for places.
Different places.
Pretty much did construction and maintenance,
Yeah, okay.
and I would only do it part time.
See you guys in the next episode. It has been 48 minutes. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Cheers.
Bye. Love you guys and stay safe always.